Good morning, Reed here. Thanks for joining me today on a little walkabout at Orchestra Farm, early January 2025, and yeah, slowly gearing into the year, which is kind of a nice feeling to go slow with it. And that's a fascinating thing of I did not get as much done over the holiday break as I was hoping to for ended up getting a little infection from a surgery, and that's all better now, thank goddess. But in wiping my to-do list clear, it's time to put it back together. And I got a bunch of different things coming up in my near future to do, and so they're taking precedent. And it's also time to start thinking, what am I going to be planting here? Which is pretty fun. So I'll be getting into that this weekend. And that's interesting. There's a lot of fluffs of featheriness here. And this notion of, what are those things that make my life feel complete? Now, in the previous video I was talking about this sense of freedom, and I feel like this notion of, a full or complete or a life that's worth living. Oh, here's it's like a little trail. Can't quite tell where in the fence line you're getting through, but anyway. I think it's a rabbit. This piece of, how do we live that balanced life? So, yesterday my eldest daughter was doing concessions at a high school play to raise money for her improv group. It's also part of it's a extracurricular activity. And I was like, rather than just going home for the, short while to just come back and pick her up, I'll just stay for the play. And in the beginning of the week, that was not on my list of things to do. And as I sat through the performance, which was, it was reasonable for a high school play, I had that funny thought of, just being, and the importance of having time space to just be. Now I'm in the process of scheduling some dates with my wife, and I was like, as long I'm interested in going for walks in the woods, and she put forward hey, I'd like to just go and sit at the beach at the shoreline. I thought, oh, great. One of those opportunities to just be. And it's funny how, what's that? Is that an eagle? I think it's an eagle. Let's see if I can get to that. See that little dot moving? Yeah. Pretty sure that's an eagle up there. Anyway. But I've noticed with myself that it can be easy to get on a roll of just I've got these certain things that need to get done. And in doing them, can be easy to overlook just kind of having presence for what's happening. Just being. And I took a moment yesterday to get into my music studio and start a new little composition, and that's one form of just being for me. And I frequently will find myself in that space, and then someone comes in to garner my attention, and I pretty much have my guard like fully down. And so when they do manage to get my attention, I am surprised by it. And I find that there's these moments of just being where life can surprise you, because you're so focused on given something that you're caught off guard by a totally different thing. And other times it's we're being in our world and then things don't catch us off guard because we're just open to witnessing what is, and so we can see things coming from, a mile away or whatever it is. And each of those different aspects I think is important to cultivate. There's one thing I was listening to yesterday. They're talking about different eye exercises. And, as I'm aging, my family's like, you need reading glasses. I'm like, maybe. When I'm like really close to like my wife or one of my kids, they're like, your eyes are going like this. And I was like, oh, okay. And in this thing about eyesight, they expressed a couple different exercises in there that strengthen your eyes. And they've talked about our senses in the past, and it's this thing of like, how do we keep our senses strong? How do we keep our perception clear and, able to age with us? So I'm going to start doing some more of these eye exercises. And I told my wife this morning, basically before I had kids, I spent a lot of time on what we might define as like self-care and, keeping my body vital. But in retrospect, I didn't have a balanced life because I wasn't spending any time on my finances. And so when I finally did have a kid, I was like, oh, that came into stark relief. And had to really focus on that and put everything else to the side for a bit. Now I feel like, okay, I've got my life pretty well organized. So it's time to put that energy back on to my own self-care. Make sure that I'm able to keep going. So I'm curious, what are you doing for your own self out there to both be and to keep that sense of being moving well into your future? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching today. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Super appreciate that. And I really hope that you have too much fun.